Hello young man. Uh, Today we will talk about the Takhtajan system of classification. We have already talked about the type of the classification. There is three types of the classification, that is the natural as well as artificial, natural and phylogenetic. So about artificial, I have already told you that it depends on the one or two characters, natural characters, which are morphologically can be seen in the plants. In earlier days, it was classified, for example, the number of the stamens were the base. That's why on the basis of the number of the stamens, it was classified as the monoandria, diandria, triandria, tetrandria, etc., etc. Then the some artificial selected some artificial characters. The Bentham and Hooker has selected some artificial characters. On that basis, they classify the plant kingdom. They selected some characters which were morphologically present and can be seen by the naked eyes in the plant. So on the basis of that character, we can identify the family in the field. So that's why we call the merit. You can write it that practically the Bentham and Hooker system is very applicable. It helps to identify the family then and there on the basis of certain characters which are easily observable in the plants. Then we come to the Takhtajan system of classification. Takhtajan system of classification is, of course, it is the phylogenetic, and it based on the some evolutionary trends. So if we go through the Takhtajan, and if there is a historical background of the Takhtajan, actually Takhtajan was the he was the basically from the Russia, and his name is Arman. It is not the author, not the author. It is Arman. Arman L. Takhtajan. L stands for Leo Novich. What the pronunciation is? Leonovich. Arman Leonovich Takhtajan. He was the Russian botanist. Actually, he was having the command over the taxonomy, and he organizing the plants on the basis of the similarities and evolutionary relationship. So basically, he was from the Russia, and he worked at the Komarov Botanical Institute. Nowadays, it is called as Pittsburgh Botanical Institute. Pittsburgh. Yes. He worked at the Komarov Botanical Institute, that was in USSR, Academy of Sciences, Leningrad. And nowadays it is known as the Pittsburgh. Classify the plants on the basis of their similarities and phylogenetic trends. He was basically the taxonomist. He also collaborated with the W. Zimmerman, and he published his classification in the form of a book. And this was published, actually it was published in Russian language. Then it was translated, it was published in 1966, and it was valid up to 69, and then most probably, exactly I don't remember the year, then it was translated into the English, and again he was modified the system, and recently appeared in 1969. The recent system appeared in 1969. So time to time he updated his system, and if there is any change was required, he made that changes in his system. One thing very interesting that the 12th Botanical Congress, which was held at the Leningrad in 1975, and their code appeared in 1978. So he was at that time he was the president of that Congress. So he was having the international authority on the phytogeography, origin and phylogeny of the flowering plants. So that he was acted as a 12th International Botanical Congress, acted as a president of that Congress, which was held in 1975, and then 13 was held in the most probably it was in Berlin. It even Berlin or it was something else. It was Berlin in 1988. Then it was in 15. It was in Tokyo. 15 Congress. It was in Tokyo. Whatever it is, I have already talked about the International Botanical Congress. So here we will go through the Takhtajan system. So we were talking about the Takhtajan as Takhtajan was having the authority in the phytogeography, and he was no doubt he was acted as a president in the 12th International Botanical Congress. In 1960, the Takhtajan system focused on phylogeny rather than just morphology. So he considered the evolutionary characters, and on that basis, even instead of the morphology, he also considered the phylogeny of that plant. Used for the classification of the angiosperm, later extended to the plant groups. Then Takhtajan introduced concept of the plant lineage and their evolutionary significances. His final comprehensive system of classification was published in 1997, Diversity and Classification of the Flowering Plant. Diversity and Classification of the Flowering Plant, incorporating several modifications in the system. As I said that he made time to time he updated the system when there is a need to change or need to some addition. So he made that time to time and publish again and again after the modification of the updation of the characteristics of the information and data collected through the phylogeny, whatever it is. The phylogenetic focus emphasizes evolutionary relationship between the plant groups. What he emphasizes? He emphasizes the evolutionary relationship between the plant groups. And this system is basically the Takhtajan system is the monophyletic. Monophyletic means it organizes the plants into monophyletic group. It means the evolution based on the particular group, a single group, that is called as the monophyletic origin. If it is from the different stocks having the developed from the different stocks, then it will be called the polyphyletic. So this system is the monophyletic in origin. So primitive and derived groups that differentiate between the more primitive and more advanced plant groups. So the principle of the classification, what he considered, the characters he considered for the classification, the growth habit, was the growth habit, then the leaves characters, then the stomata character, then the nodal structure, then the inflorescence, floral characters, pollen grains, gynoecium, ovaries, pollination, how the plant were pollinated, that also considered one of the character. Either it is the entomophily or it is the anemophily, whatever it is. Then the gametic fertilization he also considered. It is the polygonum type, the monosporic or bisporic or tetrasporic, whatever it is, he also considered the gametophytic as well as the fertilization type. Then the seed character, he considered the abundant endosperm with the minute and the undifferentiated embryo. Then the fruit, so he considered all such characters. In growth habit, he take out the woody as well as the herbaceous plants. separated the woody as well as the herbaceous, the small woody angiosperm, the large trees, then the springly branched trees, then the trees with numerous slender branches, the evergreen or deciduous. So all the characters of the growth habit he considered, and leaves that the simple or compound, reticulate venation and parent venation, alternate and opposite, whatever it is, then the stomata is the mesogenous, the paginous type with subsidiary cells, number of the based on the subsidiary cells. Then the nodal structure, the trio to pentalacunar type, then the unilocular type. It is also one of the important character on that basis. It is either the unilocular or the bilocular or the trilocular or the pentalocular, whatever it is. Then the inflorescence type is also play an important role in identifying the plants. That is the cymose or racemose or some special type, whatever it is, he also observed that character. He observed the indefinite variable number of the flower parts arranged spirally or elongated axis. Then the fixed number of the flower parts. This was the primitive, he considered the which one is the primitive character and which one is the advanced character. So he clearly differentiated the primitive and advanced character. So the primitive, what he said, the cymose, he considered the cymose the primitive and the advanced is the racemose. Similarly, the indefinite and variable number of the floral parts. Indefinite and variable number of the floral parts, he is considered the primitive characters, as well as the fixed number of the floral parts, as well the less number, you can say, the floral parts is considered the advanced character. Similarly, in the case of the pollen grain, the exile devoid of the external sculpturing is considered the primitive, while the sculpturing of the various types is the advanced structure. Then the monocolpate dicot and the tricolpate. The monocolpate is also the primitive, as well as similarly the apocarpus. Though the Bentham and Hooker is not on the basis of the evolutionary trend, the system based not in the evolutionary trend, but whatever it is, he considered the apocarpus condition is a primitive character. So that's why Bentham and Hooker placed the Ranunculaceae, apocarpus condition found in the Ranunculaceae, and that has been placed in the starting of the system. So he also considered the apocarpus is the primitive character. This similarly in this character, Takhtajan is also considered the apocarpus as well as the primitive than the syncarpus. If we go through the Hutchinson system of classification, there are the 24 phyletic dicta or morphological indicators. Hutchinson classified on the basis of that morphological indicators. So his system of classification based only on the morphological indicators, or you can say the 24 phylogenetic dicta are the principles of the phylogenetic dicta. So on that basis he classify his system of classification, plant kingdom he classified. So he also considered most of these characters he also considered as a primitive, as in case of the Takhtajan. Hutchinson also considered apocarpus is the primitive character. Bentham and Hooker considered apocarpus is the primitive character. Takhtajan also considered apocarpus is the primitive character as in comparison to the syncarpus. Apocarpus means the carpels are free. They are not united. They are free. As in case of, if you remember, the ranunculus scleratus. Ranunculus it is called as jaldhania. It is member of the ranunculaceae, and in this case you can find a very clear example of the apocarpus condition. Here a torus is formed by the thalamus, and in this torus all the carpels are arranged like that. Whenever you rub, just apply some pressure, all the carpels will be removed from this torus, and only this structure will remain there. So it is indicated that they are the carpels, they are not united, they are free. So such condition would be called as the apocarpus condition, and this considered as a primitive character, as the Takhtajan taken out, the apocarpus considered the primitive. Then the anatropous ovule is considered to be the primitive in comparison to the other type, and the quasi-nucleate ovules and tuninucleate in comparison to the tuninucleate is the primitive. So he considered the primitive as well as the advanced character, the antimophily in comparison to the anemophily. Antimophily is the primitive, then the anemophily. So similarly, suppose in the case of the seeds, the abundant endosperm with a minute and undifferentiated embryo is the primitive, then the endosperm is reduced or wanting, and the embryo is large and well differentiated. And the fruit, the many-seeded follicular fruit developed from the multi-carpal ovary apocarpus gynoecium is, of course, it is the primitive, then the syncarpus fruit. Then we talk about the outline of the Takhtajan system of the classification, which appeared in 1997. It is the most recent system. He approaches to the conquest in 1981 and 1988, and added some give some modification. So Takhtajan system approaches more closely. It approaches more closely to that of the conquest. The conquest also considered the phyta division. He mentioned as the phyta, Magnoliophyta, Magnoliopsida, Maglolioidae, etc., etc. So similarly, it is more similar with that of the conquest, and in naming the angiosperm as division, that the Magnoliophyta, it means the dicot and monocot are given the rank of the class, and the named Magnoliophyta and Liliopsida, Magnoliopsida and Liliopsida. Basically, the Takhtajan divided the angiosperm in two categories, that is the Magnoliopsida, that is the dicot, and the Liliopsida, that is the monocot. So, and the Magnoliophyta is considered as the angiosperm group. So, the suffix he used for designation of the taxa in the classification are, what suffixes he used? When we will talk about the taxonomic hierarchy, then we will discuss these suffixes, what the important role plays these suffixes, and it is also adopted by the International Code of Nomenclature, that the each division, class, subclass, suborder, family must have ints with the certain suffix. So about this suffixes we will talk when we will discuss about the taxonomic hierarchy. That is your next topic of the syllabus. So he used these suffixes. For division he used the phyta, for class he used the opsida, and for the subclasses it is id, suborder, superorder it is any, and the order is the ales. The Bentham also use the ales in most of their orders. Everybody in their classification use the ales for the family and the AC for the family. So the key character of some important taxa is the division, is the Magnoliophyta, that includes the angiosperms only angiospermic plants, that is the Magnoliophyta. And class will be of the Magnoliopsida. Magnoliopsida, all dicotyledons. He taken out only angiosperm, and angiosperm he divided the two classes, the Magnoliopsida and Liliopsida. Magnoliopsida deals only with the dicot plants, and Liliopsida deals only with the monocot plant. So he divided into two groups, two classes, you can say, the Magnoliopsida as well as the Liliopsida, and he taken the division. What the division is? The Magnoliophyta, that is the angiosperm, only the angiosperm. Then the Magnoliophyta, that is the angiosperm, is divided into the classes, two classes, the Magnoliopsida and Liliopsida. Magnoliopsida is further divided into 11 subclasses. 11 subclasses, what is that? The Magnoliidae, Nymphoidae, Ranunculae, Caryophyllae, Hemimelidae, Dilleniidae, Rosidae, Corinaidae, Asteroidae and Lemmiidae. So these are the 11 subclasses, and there are the super orders, you can say, then the orders, then the families are there. The super order in Magnoliidae, there are the 6 super orders, then the Nymphoidae, there are 2 super orders, the Nymphoidae, the 1 super order, then the Ranunculidae, 1 super order, Caryophyllae 4, and Hemimelidae 9, and Dilleniidae 10 super orders, and Rosidae 16. So hence there are 55 super orders and 11 subclasses of one class, that is the Magnoliopsida. Magnoliopsida having the 11 subclasses, 55 superorders, 175 orders and 458 families. They are the total number of the dicot families which he classified, Takhtajan classified, that is the total 458 families, while the Bentham and Hooker classify only 202 families, and out of that 202 families, 97,205 species were arranged in 202 families out of that 5,000 something genera. And the second class, that is the Liliopsida. Liliopsida deals with the monocotyledonous families only, and that having the 6 subclasses, and that are the Lilioidae, Camelinidae, Ericidae, Alismatidae, and Truridae, then the Ericidae or Eridae, whatever it is, Eridae. So there are the 6 subclasses as well as the 16 superorders. Lilioidae having the 2, Camelinidae having the 7, and Ericidae having the 1, and Alismatidae is also having the 1 superorder, while the Truridae having the 1, then the Eridae having the 4 super orders, as well as the orders, the 18 orders in case of the Lilioidae, and the 21 orders in the Camelinidae, and 1 in the Ericidae, 10 in the Alismatidae, etc., etc. And there are 57 orders, as well as these 57 orders covered with the 16 superorders and the 131 families. So hence there is 589 families are there in case of the Takhtajan system of classification. If we talked about the statistical synopsis of Takhtajan system of classification, then what would be the statistical synopsis? You have to give the only the angiosperm divided into this, the angiosperm or the Magnoliopsida is divided into 2, that is the Magnoliopsida. It is the Magnoliophyta. Here the Magnoliophyta. It is the Magnoliopsida. Then the Liliopsida. There are two classes. That is the dicot and that is the monocot. The two classes. Magnoliophyta divided into two classes. So it is divided into two classes. One is the and the Magnoliopsida is further divided into 11 subclasses. 11 subclasses. Then superorder, how many superorders? 55 superorders. Then how many families are there? 175 orders arranged in 458 families. 450. So, Magnoliophyta divided into two subclasses, and two subclasses there are the that is the dicot Magnoliopsida, as well as the Liliopsida. Magnoliopsida is further divided into 11 subclasses, 55 superorders, 175 orders, and 458 families. Similarly, the case of Liliopsida, that is divided into 6 superorders, 6 subclasses, and 16 superorders, the 57 orders out of these 57 are bearing the 131 families. So total number of the families is 589, 458 and 131, 98589 families. These are the total number of the families arranged in total number of families arranged by the Takhtajan, while in the Bentamanuka Bay and H there is 202 families. There may be a question either in the test or maybe anywhere, if you go for the interview, that anywhere can ask that how many families are covered with the Takhtajan and how many with the Bendamanukars. So your answer must be of 589 families in the Takhtajan, as well as the 202 families in the Bendamanukar system. Similarly, in the Hutchinson's, there are different number of the families they covered in their system of classification. So we were talking about the statistical synopsis. Whenever the question on the statistical synopsis, then you have to write only the number of the subclasses, number of the classes, then the superorders, then the orders, then the number of the families. Either it is from the dicot, it is from the monocot, whatever it is, the total number you have to write over there. So this data indicates the total number. So in a statistical synopsis, you may write this data. You may. Then the